welcome to another edition of
Friday Night Drive-Thru?
Friday Night Drive-Thru.
We're not a drive-thru. Yeah, but this hasn't been drive-thru weeks lately.
No, it hasn't been. Actually, well, let's do some introductions. I'm James, and you're?
Can I be feeling frosty?
Feeling frosty.
I'm just going to read my shirt from now on.
Last week you were Halloween, pumpkin spice, or what was it?
I had a witch's hat, so it was something about witches.
Witch spice?
There was the butterfly witch, but then we decided pumpkin spice witch was so much better.
Oh my God. Well, yes. Yeah. You were so right about it not being in a drive-thru. We actually went out to Carlos O'Brien's tonight at the Norterra Center, and Carlos O'Brien is a sit-down, and you got a waitress or a waiter. We had a waiter today. Restaurant. Eventually. There is no drive-thru at that restaurant. It's a Mexican food restaurant, believe it or not.
I love Carlos O'Brien's.
Yeah, it's got that Irish last name, but that Spanish first name, so it's kind of like...
Well, no, but it's not. They don't have Irish food. Because I have to say, that's one of the things I was disappointed about. Hang on, I look terrible. Let's see. Now I can't see myself. It's so much better. So that's one of the things I was disappointed about the first time we went to Carlos O'Brien's is I thought it was going to be like Spanish and Irish. You know, like that Chino Bandito?
Oh, yeah.
Which is amazing. Sounds crazy, and you can't even tell people about the food because they always make that face. Yeah. And I'm with them the first time. I was like, yeah, I'm not eating that. But then I had to go there for some work thing, and it's amazing.
Yeah, for those of you that aren't familiar with Chino Banditos, which I think there is only one in the whole world.
Yeah, and they're not on 19th and Greenway anymore. They moved. It just came up and actually at a work meeting not too long ago.
It's Chinese-Mexican.
And people in other states were like, you eat what?
Chinese-Mexican food. And yes, I remember the first time I heard about it, I was like, you're kidding me. That sounds absolutely disgusting.
It also sounds pretty derogatory, but it's fun.
It is not. You know, actually, Chino is Spanish, I believe, for Chinese. Yeah. So it's not really that derogatory.
No, so I guess it's not. It just sounds like it would be.
Yeah.
It's the Bandito part, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. But Carlos O'Brien. So I don't know what I thought it would have, but I thought they would have Spanish, or I guess Mexican, and Irish food. But
it's kind of like an Irish pub that serves Mexican food.
That would be a weird mix.
I don't know. There's several of them in the Phoenix metro area. I know of two. I think there's more, but I know of two that I've been to.
Yeah.
There's one on Camelback Road over by the Payeste, whatever, freeway. Basically, the Squaw Peak Freeway. They renamed it Payesta.
That's not right.
Whatever.
It's somebody's name.
Yeah.
But, so if you go to Chino Bandito, get the little bit of everything. Highly recommend.
Yeah. So
the miniatures, I always like the miniatures because I don't like to make decisions.
Yeah, it had a miniature of everything. It had a miniature chimichangas, miniature tostada.
Tamales.
Comes with 3 miniature tamales,
which are so good.
By the way, I'm not a huge fan of tamales, never have been, because the matzah is so bland. But
this is good.
I was going to say at Chino Banditos, at Carlos O'Brien's, the matzah's actually really good, and you figured out why.
Because I think it has creamed corn in it.
Yeah, it has.
It's definitely got corn in it, and it's sweet, so I think it might be creamed corn.
Yeah, I think you're right. Oh, hi.
Hello.
Yeah, that's my son, James.
I've been waiting for your kitten to crash in, but I don't know where I hear her running around, but I don't know where she's gotten off to.
Where is that cute little kitten? Oh, I think she's in my bedroom.
No, I hear her. I hear jingles. So there she is.
There she is.
She heard him. She's like, Daddy, where are you?
5 o'clock in the morning, you got to get up and go to work, or you have to be there at 5 a.m., which means you have to get up at 4 something.
That's
not a job for me. I'm sorry.
But he is off at 11.
Oh, yeah. You better go to bed.
That's terrible.
Less than 6 hours from now.
Oh, you're giving me a stomachache just thinking about it. That's terrible.
Yeah, next week I got to get up early and go into the office. I hate going in the office. First of all, it's a 25-mile drive into the office, which takes about almost an hour to get there because it's in Midtown Phoenix. I work remotely most of the time.
Having an office.
But yeah, every once in a great while I have to drive into the office, which is terrible. Last month I had to drive into downtown Phoenix at our main office, and yeah, that really sucked too.
But she ran over to him to be picked up. She loves to lay on his shoulder. It's so cute. She's like, let's go for a ride.
So what do you want to talk about this week other than Carlos O'Brien, which is great Mexican food?
It is.
If you're in the Phoenix area, go check it out.
I'm so tired. Yeah, I was going to say it must suck to have an office. I'm so happy I don't have an office that I can get to unless they want to buy me plane tickets.
Yeah, where is your main office? It's in, is it still in California?
Yeah.
San Jose, is it? Or
no, well, it used to be Santa Monica, but I'm not really even sure anymore, honestly. I think I should probably know that, but I don't know. Anyway, well, there is one in town, sort of, but not one I would go to. Like, I have a boss in Texas, and I have one in Kansas, and I have the other one's in Missouri.
Yeah, you work for an international company. Yeah, they're all over the world.
Yeah, I would like to move to Canada and work, but they haven't figured that out. I can live anywhere in the U.S. I feel like if I really got our stuff together and wanted to move back to Canada, I could probably make it happen. But nobody knows how to do that now. But
terrible.
I got some convincing to do. I think. Well, you can't. You'd have to get a new job. Your job can't go out of state.
Yeah.
But
yeah, mine's very restrictive.
Complicated. I used to have to live within 50 miles of an office. And then around the pandemic, I think it was after the pandemic, we were all still remote. And because we were partially remote before, and then we went fully remote during, of course. And then they were like, closed all the offices during the pandemic. And and then after they were talking about, it was right when we had some offices still open, and they had this rule that we had to be within 50 miles of an office. And I was like, okay, I'm no longer within 50 miles of an office, but that's not my fault. Y'all closed the office. I haven't moved.
Yeah.
So that's on you. Like, you can't enforce that. But then they closed the other offices, so it didn't matter anymore. We're officially untethered. Because I used to be remote, but in Arizona, and now I'm untethered, which means I don't have to stay in the state.
Right. So many years ago, I worked for Domino's Pizza. I worked for their main office. I didn't work in their restaurants, but I worked at their main office. And anyway, I had to have a pager. So because I had a position where I was basically on call all the time.
We had to explain to our kids what a pager was. Yeah, recently. That's entertaining.
Those that you don't know what a pager is, because you're youngins or whatever, it's this device. Somebody would call, and then you had this little box, and it would beep, and it'd show you a phone number, and you had to go to a phone, find a phone, because there weren't cell phones back in those days.
It was before cell phones.
Yes, it was before cell phones, and then call the number that appeared on your screen. So anyway, I had a pager, and it was only good. Well, they only had towers or whatever they had, service, I guess.
Yeah.
In the Metro Phoenix area. So when we were looking to buy our first house, there was a good deal on a house in Black Canyon City, which is just outside the Phoenix metro area. I
didn't remember that at all.
I do. I remember that because of this story. So I says to my boss, I says, what would happen if I moved to Black Canyon City? Would that be a problem? And without skipping a beat, he said, yeah, you'd be fired.
Oh.
I'm like, oh, okay.
Well,
so I guess I'm not going to buy that house. So I didn't.
Well, that's out. Yeah.
And it would have actually been kind of a cool place to live, because it would have been really remote, out in the desert, on the high desert anyway.
Especially back then. Yeah. Holy mackerel.
The high desert of Arizona is I think kind of beautiful, because there's a lot of greenery out there. I mean, it doesn't get a lot of rain, but it has a lot of greenery, and it's in the mountains too. It's kind of at the foothills, or just starting to get into where the mountains are in Arizona. But anyway, long story short, yeah, if I'd have bought that house and moved there, I would have lost my job, because I needed to be on call all the time. So that kind of sucks.
I don't want to ever have an on-call job. That sounds terrible. I remember it was terrible when you had an on-call job, because it's mostly weekends that they call.
Yeah, because when the stores are having issues, and I have to go in there and fix whatever the problem is. Yeah. So.
Yeah, especially on the weekends, it's a crisis.
It's always a crisis.
That's
on
when
the
it's
weekend.
busy.
I could tell you stories. Oh my God, I could tell you stories about Domino's Pizza. I'm not saying anything bad about Domino's. Domino's was a really fun company to work for. It was when I started with them, when they were a really young company and they were just getting started. To give you an example, I was in my early 20s and I was on the executive leadership team. Because we were all
young company, young people that run it.
Yeah, it was young people that ran it. I think the oldest guy was the director of operations at that time, and I think he was in his late 30s.
No.
So, yeah, that tells you you're running a multi-million-dollar business, and you're all basically kids.
Yeah.
And we had a good time.
Because I feel like when I started working at the job I'm at now, before we were subsidiaries and bought out and international and all that, it was a fairly young company. It'd been around only a few years, but it was also a young company, and because it was new, they hired people and they moved them up really fast. So there's a lot of young people running it. And it was kind of a disaster. Like, those people had no idea what they were doing. And it was very frustrating sometimes trying to be like, that's not how that works. And they didn't understand. And I'd be like, no, just no, let me explain it to you. And I'm like, not trying to step on any toes or anything. Yeah, you're the boss. That's okay. But you don't know what you're talking about in this particular situation. And, sometimes they get their feathers ruffled. And I'm not trying to be like that. I just trying to help you out before this crashes and burns.
Yeah, because when you get older like us now, you have a lot of experience under your belt, especially since you've been working in the corporate world for decades upon decades. I mean, I wish I knew now what back then I would have.
Then what you know now.
Yeah. You know what I'm trying to say. Yeah, I'd have been dangerous.
That would be nice.
And I had to learn all that stuff just on the fly. I mean, none of us knew what we were doing. None of us had ever, kind of worked in corporate America before. And I remember the owner of the company would send us off to like California and places like that to go do executive leadership training classes.
To learn.
I'm a graduate of the Carnegie business.
Have you looked that up? Is that still a thing? It's probably
I think it is still a thing. I graduated that course in Los Angeles, California. I didn't pay for it at all. The company paid for it, and I learned a lot of stuff.
The reason I ask if it's still a thing is because I don't know if companies still do that. Like, I used to work in American Express, and we had business lunches, things you don't see anymore, really, and where you went out to a restaurant for meetings. And I learned a lot because it was major corporate. Like, they've been around forever and ever. And so there was a lot of red tape, and you had all the crappy corporate stuff that I've tried to explain to people. Now we're starting to run into a lot more in my business. But so that's why I was like, I know, because I suffered through these things. I didn't know what I was doing, but I watched other people. This is how that worked, right? And so stuff like that, but they don't do that anymore. When I worked in American Express, we had team building where somebody would come in. It was like a corporate thing, and they'd come in and do what was that thing about the rowboat or something? Canoe? I don't remember. There was a whole thing.
I've never heard of that one.
Yeah, it was a standard, always done thing in a bunch of these trainings. And so I did that one, and I did, they do still do that. INTP, whatever those letters where you do the thing. They do still do that, but now it's a 5-minute thing you fill out and you get an email. But you used to have to do it in person, and then we had long meetings and discussions. So it was like a half-day thing, right?
Right.
Talking about that and how other people's differences and how you interact, and so you understand each other, which actually was super helpful, because we came to find out that everybody on our team was an introvert except our boss, who was an extrovert. And we were like, well, that explains so many things and so many issues we have. I'll never forget that meeting. That was interesting. But yeah, so we did all those things. And so we would go to these places, and we went to Phoenix University once and did I think that might have been that one, did like a half-day thing and 2-day trainings and all these different things.
Yeah.
Nobody does that anymore. You never hear about that. Although there was something about, I don't really understand. There was a business thing, and I'm not following how this was a business thing. It was a walnut festival in Boston, and all the upper leadership people flew to Boston for it.
Okay.
Like a couple weeks ago at my work. And I was like, I'm still so confused. I still have no
walnuts?
idea. I don't know. I really don't understand. It was the walnut festival.
That's so strange.
Confused. really
sometimes
don't
it just
understand
shocks me
that several of the companies sent leadership people to it. And
yeah, it just shocks me how sometimes corporate America pays for these retreats for these executives, and these retreats are absolutely stupid.
yeah, but when they can't do an online, virtual meeting with trading for the rest of us peons.
Yeah.
No, we don't have time or money for that. You guys need to do your job.
Now, when I worked for Domino's back in the day, now this was back in the 80s, mind you, the owner of the business would pay for us to go to the dunes in California. He would rent a whole bunch of ATCs, basically, they're ATVs. They were three-wheelers back then, not today like they have the quads. Yeah, this is back when three-wheelers were illegal. And and it was just a big party. I mean, we would just
all I can think is the liability.
All the drinking that we did. We'd sleep out in the desert in tents. We'd have a giant pavilion, watch movies, drink all night long, and then in the day ride these quads or these ATCs all over the place out in the desert. And it was like right on the cusp of the Mexican border where we were. So we would ride into Mexico all the time. And of course, there was nobody to stop you. There was no wall. Patrol. There was no border patrol. Yeah. I mean, there was a border patrol, but nobody cared. You know, so we'd go down in Mexico, hang out in cantinas down there. Side. Yeah, hang out in the cantina down there, and then ride the bikes back into the States. You know, and all there was this big giant stone thing. On one side said the United States, the other side said Mexico, and that's how you knew you crossed the border. But there was no Mexicans there to stop us, and there was no Americans to saying where's your card, where's your passport, or any of that kind of stuff. Have the same story,
but it's on snowmobiles.
Mm-hmm.
Going to the U.S. for lunch and going back. Yeah.
Yeah, it was very cool. And we do that, and we do those trips. I think 2-3 times a year. It was a very, like I said, very fun company to work for. And then there was always the parties on the weekend, and oh my God, I know.
But then they grew up.
Yeah, and then we grew up. Well, some of us did anyway. I did. I know I grew up. Yeah. But it was like I said, we were all really young and had a lot of energy.
But that's one of those right time, right place, right time situations that I think very few people are lucky enough to experience in their life.
Yeah, if you can get in on a good company at the start of the company, it's really a lot of fun to be part of an organization when it's growing and going through all those growing pains and figuring things out. Yeah, as long as they survive it, which obviously Domino's did. They're still around. But yeah, it was really cool. It was
not really though, because that was a franchise and they're corporate now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so they sold out to corporate.
Yeah, we had when I left them.
Sort of around, but.
When I started with them, they had about 10 stores, and when I left them years later, we were up to 75 in the Metro Phoenix area.
I'm curious now because I know they sold to corporate, and I wonder how many stores they have now.
Yeah, I have no idea. I've been out of the game. I've been away from that company for decades. I have no idea what goes on. Because I'm sure that they probably
closed some of those ones, but then city has expanded, so they probably opened new ones too. So
yeah, I have no idea.
I have no idea. Just wondering.
I was in a Domino's a few months ago to pick up. Well, I think I was in there. Yeah, I went in the store to pick up something, a pizza or something for us.
Oh no, you actually had a dash run.
Oh, at a Domino's.
Because I remember we were like, I didn't think they did that.
Yeah, I remember going in there and looking around and going, yeah, a lot of this stuff, is very familiar, their operation, but whatever.
But they have computers.
The main part of my job was I would go in there and if a store wasn't doing good, I would work with the manager to get his store profitable. So I knew a lot of the ins and outs of the stores. I always thought you should go consultant when you left. I basically was a consultant. I was.
Well, you weren't because you were on payroll, but you should be a consultant. You could have made a killing. You don't want to do it though.
No,
because that'd be the restaurant business again.
I never want to go back to the restaurant business. It was fun, but I don't recommend. I do not want it. A lot of hours. I like my job now. I work Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and I have holidays off. And yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Maybe that's why I like cooking because I never worked in a restaurant. Yeah. I mean, other than when I answered the phones at Domino's for a few weeks, I never worked in a restaurant.
Yeah. So I kind of do a lot of still project management stuff with where I'm at now. And I really like doing project management stuff. I like taking a project from the beginning and seeing it all the way through to the end, and
I'm waiting
work
to
and
find
collaborate with a lot of different departments and people to make something happen.
I didn't tell you this, but I'm waiting to find out if I'm going to be a project manager with my promotion.
No, that'd be cool. Yeah, I think you really like that.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm a very organized person.
So it's like analyst, whatever number, I don't even know, or project manager 1, I think. I don't know. They're having meetings about it because they got to figure it out. So I'm
they need to have a meeting about the meeting.
Kind of.
I had 3 meetings this month about a meeting.
You did. But that's your job. Your job is planning meetings. So you spend a lot of time planning meetings and coordinating the agenda and ordering lunch. I feel like, I wish I could put my mind around how many meetings could have been an email.
Yeah, those meetings can't.
But no, this week was just meeting after meeting. And when I wasn't in meetings, I was calling my partner to have a meeting so we could get stuff done. It was just,
I got to pull in presenters from all different parts of the company to come and talk about whatever needs to be talked about and present. And
you organize all of it.
Yeah, I organize. I'm just a big organizer.
I don't organize. I don't go to any meetings that big.
One of the funnest projects I ever worked on was remodeling the floor that our offices are on.
Yeah,
I did all that.
Yeah, because you had to do the map and coordinate where everybody's going to sit, where you needed desks, and how big of an office space or cubicle or whatever you needed.
And then I remodeled.
That was kind of fascinating.
And then I remodeled years later. I remodeled the place because we were having storage issues, and I just come up with a couple options and run them by the boss, and the boss says, "Oh yeah, I like option B," and I'm like, "Okay," and I made it happen. So they came in and remodeled, and because we were having all sorts of issues, and it's all fixed now and it runs really smooth. So
isn't that kind of crazy though? In the corporate world, you have those
things change all the time.
Offices with the cubicles that are temporary walls, right? They're not permanent walls,
right?
So they come down and they move them around, and this used to be an office, but now it's a storage room, and we're going to put a cubicle here, and that's a manager space now, different kind of cubicle, and it's
I got them off from being a paper documents to electronic. That was probably one of the biggest accomplishments I did, and that saved us a lot of room.
Yeah, I bet nobody uses paper.
And all the archiving that needed to be done with paper documents and all that stuff, and we don't have to do that anymore because it's all electronic now. So, every bit of it.
One of my projects this week, because we just switched systems, from Google. Well, we haven't had Google in forever, but we switched from Google to a different one, and now to Microsoft, and it's just been kind of a nightmare, honestly. But it will be good in the long run. But normal growing pains. But so one of my projects this week was to research and figure out retention policies and stuff. I call it the hit by a bus plan. That's kind of frowned upon as a name in the corporate world, but they call it the win the lottery. But realistically, if you win the lottery, you still have a phone. So if you're in the hospital event, you can't answer the phone.
You're still hit by a bus.
So hit by a bus makes more sense.
It's the money
hit
bus.
By a bus makes more sense. Anyway, so they call it win the lottery. If somebody wins the lottery and they leave, and we want to make sure we still have access to those files. So we figured that out.
Yeah. God help him if I ever win a lottery. Because there won't be.
Because you got things.
There will not be 2 minute. There will not be 2 minute. 2 week notice. There'll be 1 second notice.
I know you fantasize about that one frequently. Someday I'm going to win the lottery and I'm going to tell these people what I think. I love that. Yeah. It's so funny.
No, I wouldn't do that. I'm a professional. I'm a nice guy. Anyway. So, any cool memes?
Memes? No, I haven't had time to look at memes in weeks.
I saw some memes, but I can't talk about them on a video because they're kind of racy and
yeah. I've seen some questionable things I didn't know existed.
And I was like, I laughed. I thought they were funny, but yeah,
I did see.
They're not for public consumption.
I'm trying to remember because I received some videos that were really funny this week.
Oh, I know what we can talk about.
Huh?
Oh, I'm sorry. Did you have?
No, go ahead. I got to look it up. So talk.
Let's talk about the dash I did last night. Oh,
that was crazy.
Oh my God! So, well, I get off of work and I was like, "Hey, let's go dash for about an hour or so. Make some little extra money." So I do like 2 orders, and then the sun's going down and it's like pitch black, and I catch another order. And I was like, well, this will be the last one for the night. And it ends up, being out in the desert. I'm like, well, I'm not really a fan of going out in the desert.
It was out there
in the middle of the night, but
it wasn't where I thought it was going to be. To be fair,
yeah, I thought it was in this one neighborhood that's out there. It's kind of like a remote neighborhood, but it's like it has streets and street lights, and regular houses, all this stuff. Oh no, I was wrong. We misread the map. It was on the other side of the main road that goes out into the middle of the desert. It was on the north side. And it was real sketch. Okay.
It was dark. And if I hadn't been holding my phone while his was running the GPS in the car, I was holding my phone watching it, and I went, "Oh, we just passed it."
So when a customer puts
never went down that street
in the directions, because there's a place you can put down the directions, like special instructions, and hardly anybody ever fills those out because the GPS takes you right there. Usually what they put in the special directions is don't knock, don't ring the doorbells, the dogs don't like it, that kind of stuff, or leave it on the bench next to the door, the food on the bench next to the door. That's usually what's in the instructions. But when you're going out to these desert places,
the instructions are really important.
The instructions are super important because people put down like directions.
Like it's the big red gate.
Yeah. And
that was the worst instructions.
That was a couple of weeks ago, but we can talk about that one later. But on this one, when you see it says, don't follow the GPS directions, that's never a good sign.
It's never a good
sign.
And
I'm going out in the desert in the pitch black. Okay. There's no street lights out there. So I go out there, and thank God she's looking at the Google map on her phone as I'm headed out there, because we're looking for this one road. I'm not going to say because I don't want to dox this person.
That's true.
Okay.
Let's not do that. There's nothing else out there.
Yeah, there's nothing else out there. And if I start giving specifics, you'll be able to find them on a map real easy. And that's not cool to do to customers. So anyway, it says you're looking for blank avenue. Okay. So she's like, no, we're coming up on it. So I'm like already like 10 miles out of town. Okay.
Yeah, we're driving really fast because there's nothing out there.
Yeah, there's nothing out there. I'm doing like 60 on this road. So we go out like 10 miles, and then she's like, the road's coming up right here. And I'm looking, I'm like, I don't see no damn road.
That was it.
And she goes, that's it. And so I hit the brakes and I back up a little. Sure enough, there's a road. And then there's a street, there's a sign and on a pole. And I'm like, I can't even read this. Because it's in a bush.
It's city pole, though.
It's in a bush.
That's what shocked me.
So I have a spotlight that I carry with me. Thank God, because you cannot do this job without a spotlight. I flash the spotlight up on the thing, and sure enough, it says the avenue, because I want to verify that I'm actually on the right road.
Before you go driving down the dirt road.
So now you got to drive down this road for another like mile and a half, if I remember right. And you get to the guy's place, and the thing that freaked me out is his gate code is 1776. Now, we're in Arizona. I know that 1776 doesn't mean a whole lot to a whole lot of people, but in Arizona, there's groups out here.
I feel like it's fairly common now.
And
maybe it's just here.
They're radical. Okay, it's Arizona. You know what I say about Arizona? Arizona is basically gunsmoke, rattlesnakes, and horse shit. Okay, when you get outside of Phoenix. Phoenix is like a metropolitan urban area. It's the 5th largest city in the United States. It's very modern, very clean for the most part. But outside of Phoenix, you have what's called the rest of Arizona. And the rest of Arizona is very Wild West. Okay, everybody has a gun, everybody's packing, and you never want to go out into the desert without a gun. Okay. And last night I didn't have my gun with me because I had left it at home. And I carry my gun with me because sometimes I have to go out in the desert and there's weirdos out there sometimes.
They tend to be really nice usually, to be fair.
Yeah, that's true. They tend to be really nice, for the most part, but you never know. And I'm driving out to this place that has a gate code of 1776, which leads me to believe that there's a possibility that these guys are militia, okay? And sure as shit, as the sun rises in the freaking east, this is a compound.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty sure it was a compound.
So I get into the gate, and I'm like going, oh, God, what have I got myself into? Here's the other thing about Arizona and the desert. If you disappear in the desert, you're gone. You're just gone. It's like a black hole. Yeah. Somebody wants to bury you out there, they're never going to find
years later.
Yeah, they're not going to find you.
Yeah,
okay?
It's not.
So if somebody wants to get you out in the desert, they can get you and you're gone. They can make everything disappear. Everything. The car, you, everything.
That's true. So, like you always told our girls, actually all the girls' dates, the desert's a big place and I have pre-dug holes.
Yeah.
It's such a terrible.
So anyway, I'm a little, I don't know, maybe I'm being paranoid or whatever. But anyway, I get onto this compound, and the instructions are to leave the food next to the big garages. And this guy has 2 giant garages. I mean, they're more like Taj Mahals. They're so big. Okay, that's the kind of garages we're talking about. And so I pull up and I find the garages that he's talking about on this compound. And I get out of the car and I start walking towards them. And the first thing I notice is the cars that are parked outside of the garage, all of them have their doors open and their trunks. So tell me that's not weird.
I didn't notice that.
Okay, these aren't wrecks. These are actual drivable vehicles. They're really nice vehicles. Dying over there? So I'm like, God, somebody's gonna come around the corner. They're gonna throw me in the back of one of these cars and disappear me, because my mind's racing. And I'm thinking, I'm just being paranoid. And I start walking over towards the thing, and a guy comes around the corner. I'm like, oh shit, here it comes. And I says, oh, hi, sir, here's your food. And he goes, oh, I don't live here. And I was like, of course you don't live here, He goes, I can take you into the house if you want. And I was like, no. Because rule number 1 on delivery, you never go in somebody's house, okay? Because you don't know what's in there or what's waiting for you. So, I says, no, I'll just leave the stuff here. So I left the stuff there and, took photos of it like you're required to for DoorDash, and then I got the hell out of there. So I'm sure I was just being paranoid and stuff, but for good reason. What? Oh, okay. That's my daughter saying that Zach's coming in, her boyfriend. Mm-hmm. So I thought that was kind of an interesting thing that was going on last night.
What I thought was funny is when you parked, you turned around so you could make a quick exit.
Yeah, I did.
Thought that was a good thing.
Yeah. Because going out in the middle of the desert at night is to somebody's compound is not my idea. Well, it's an adventure. Let's put it that way. It's very adventurous.
All right. If I can, I apologize, not lose my voice. I did find a couple memes that I found this. I had some catching up to do on memes. So this one made me giggle because I think we can all relate to this, having ever worked in an office. The office. We should decorate for Halloween. Me. Why? This place is already a nightmare all year round.
That's too funny.
Listen, it's not gossip if it's at work. It's circling back and staying up to date.
Truth.
And then, I don't know, hopefully this one's not long, but this was my week this week. Hang on. Requesting any access to anything in corporate America.
Why the fuck do you need access to this tool? I need it to perform a basic weekly function of my job. I know your little games. It's a slippery slope, isn't it? We give you access to this tool, and then what next? You start going in there and, I don't know, doing other people's jobs? This is the most archaic tool on the planet. I can assure you, I will not be spending any more time in this tool than is absolutely necessary to do my core job.
That was basically, I had this experience. Like I said earlier, I was transitioning from system to system, and I'm having issues accessing because it's become kind of a joke in my team. I always have issues. If everybody else is fine, it's me. It's me that has the computer technical issue, and I have to reach out to IT, and they're not fun to deal with. Why do you need access to that? What are you going to do with it? I swear they act like I don't work there.
Right. Well, here's kind of a fun fact. So the team I work on, I'm the one that kind of assigns everybody's duties.
It's you. You're the one that's doing the.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Why do
So
you want access?
I assign all the duties to everybody else. Okay. So there was one person that had a lot of duties, and another person, not so much. So I thought I'd even it out. So I tell this nice lady, I says, "Hey, I'm going to take this this duty away from you and give it over to this other person to kind of take some stuff off your plate so you're not so overwhelmed." Oh, hell no. She's like, no way.
Being nice.
Yeah, I thought I was being nice, but she just freaked out and said, no way, no, that's my project. You can't take that away from me. Please don't. Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, fine. I don't want to hear about how you don't have the bandwidth to do, whatever the next project that comes down the pike, and I don't want to hear about it because I try to help you out. But yeah, people are really protective about their projects. Yeah, it's insane. If somebody comes along, and I've had this happen at work, somebody come along and go, hey, we want to reassign this thing. Actually, this happened last week to me. I was doing this. There's this meeting that we do every quarter, and I do basically 2 presentations, and one of them I had been doing for, I don't know, close to 7 or 8 years. I mean, it's been a long time. I've been doing this every single quarter. And my boss is like, I'd like to take this away from you and give it to this other person because this other person, this is more in line with their job. And I was like, yeah, sure, no problem.
What can I do to assist with this transition?
I even said that. I says, what can I do to help? Would you like me to send you all my data from all the previous years and give you examples of what I present and all that stuff? And the other person was real happy to receive all that stuff and everything. But I didn't pitch a fit, not one little bit. You want to take some stuff off my plate? You can have it.
I had a boss once a few years back who had started redistributing things, right?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have any issue with it, but they assumed that I had an issue with it, which is weird. And I didn't realize this till we had a not so nice talk one day. And they were like, well, I know you're mad at me because I'm taking away all your stuff. And I'm like, I'm only doing that because nobody would volunteer and I couldn't get anybody else to do it. I have no issue with somebody else doing it. Yeah. I am okay with that. And they were like, oh.
If they want to pay me, they want to take all my projects away from me and pay me to do absolutely nothing, I'm cool with it.
I'm like, why would you assume I want to do that much work?
Yeah. I'm so cool with that. There's this thing called Netflix. I can watch that at work.
You literally do. I'm so jealous. You've got your job so streamlined. It's so nice.
Yeah.
Mine changes all the time.
Yeah, because I'm always tweaking everything to make it streamlined so everything runs smoother. And so, yeah, that's what you got to do. That's what you got to do. Oh, my dog's going to bark because somebody's coming in. He's coming in the door. The dog's going to go crazy.
Just don't knock over the camera.
Get him, Raven. Get him. Get him. Get him, Raven. Go check.
She's like, no, I know him. Never mind. I can't get him, Dad.
No, coward. Yeah. Tell you to eat somebody, you need to eat him.
She's like, he's not a stranger. You must be crazy. She laughed at you. Did you see that?
Yeah. She's a good dog.
That's I love her. Big smile. She's the best. World's best dog.
But I'm always for the dogs attacking my daughter's boyfriends. I have no problem with that at all. I'm a sweetheart like that.
Oh,
sweetheart.
We had excitement this week, speaking of the dog.
Yeah? Oh, yeah. This is funny. Tell the story.
The kitten was sitting on my desk, and she seems to like to do so much, but she's adorable. That's fine. And the dog was sitting under my desk because she's never more than a foot away from the kitten. She loves her so much. And so she's sitting there, and I had to keep yelling at her because she keeps standing up. She does this all the time. All day today, she was driving me crazy because the kitten was sleeping on my desk, and she kept standing up to look. And I'm like, kid, stop standing on my desk. Get down. So anyway, the dog is sitting there. The kitten goes to jump off my desk onto the floor, but then she's looking at the dog like she's so nervous about jumping over the dog, which, to be fair, the kitten misjudges how far she can jump a lot. So I get that. We watched her face plant into the sofa the other day. So she jumps off the desk over the dog, and she like brushed the top of the dog's head. Well, I think she thought that the dog tried to get her, and she plays with the dog, but she doesn't like to be licked by the dog. So she landed and hissed at the dog. And as soon as she hissed, the older cat, Daisy, comes flying into the room out of nowhere. I hadn't seen her all day. Comes flying in, yelling and swinging like a rabid animal, attacking the dog. And she goes, she's like, as soon as she heard that baby hiss, she was all over the dog. What did you do? And scared the crap out of the dog. So the dog turned around barking and snarling, which surprised me because the dog is afraid of the cat. She doesn't seem to understand how much bigger than the cat she is. But so she turned around, and then the dog's, I don't know what happened. She was snarling and yelling. I'm in a meeting going, shut up, what is going on? And so the dog's under my chair crying, and the cat ran up the stairs, and then the kitten's just sitting there like, what happened? Like, no clue. But then later we realized that she couldn't have bit on the cat's head because the cat wouldn't have survived. But the cat had a dot on top of her head of blood, and under her chin of blood. It was actually, I guess, around here. And then we just cleaned it off and tried to look, and you could tell she was really sore right here and didn't want to be touched.
Yeah.
But she was breathing just fine, and she was okay. She was mostly pouty and upset. She doesn't like even the thought of having lost a fight. But then
she's very competitive.
Yeah, she is. She's a little vicious. But then later that night, her nose swelled up really bad. Like, they have the curve here. Mm-hmm. No more curve. It was just straight,
swollen face.
So then I spent some time on the computer chatting with the vet, sending pictures and everything, explaining what was going on, and he looked at it and asked us a bunch of questions and said, okay, it's not an emergency. You don't need to go to the emergency room tonight. Keep an eye on her. And, depending on whatnot, you might need to follow up with the vet, which we're like dreading. We're like, oh, do we have to go to the vet? Because the cat hates the vet.
I wonder if the vets get a lot of dog attacks cat kind of things.
Cat attacks dog, you mean?
Yeah. And dog fights back. Kicks cat's ass.
Because the cat definitely picked this fight. The poor dog was like, what happened? Because, the dog didn't do anything. Like, the kitten hissed at her, but the dog hadn't done anything.
Right.
At all. And so, the dog's crying under my chair. But, so yeah, her nose, we were really, really worried about her. Actually, I didn't sleep that night. I was really, really worried. But she was breathing okay. She did just fine. And the next day, the swelling was down considerably. But she kept going to love on me, and she likes to rub her head on me like that. Well, she would flinch and back and then just kind of gently lean on me. So she's definitely sore. But today, I think the swelling is gone. I don't think there's any swelling left now. So it took 2 days to go down. But even the next day, she was sassing at the dog again. Like, I thought, oh, maybe she'll learn her lesson and quit picking on the dog, because she hides around the corner and waits for the dog to come around the corner and swats at her. Like, she's so picks on this dog, and this dog is like PTSD from this cat. But no, she did not. She still sassed at the dog for trying to enter the same room she was in. They didn't fight. She didn't swing at her, but she did chew her out. She was like, Mimi, Mimi, Mimi. She's a very vocal dog cat. So yeah, that was lots of excitement. Not good excitement. So many things happening around here always.
Always.
It's a zoo.
It is. Well, I think we should wrap this one up. What do you think?
Yeah. I want to watch TV.
Oh, okay. It's getting late. She wants to watch her stories. All right, guys. I see you all at the next
show.
one.
What's the Invasion?
Invasion. That's on Paramount?
Apple
TV. Show called Invasion is actually pretty good. And we're watching the Good Morning show. The morning show. It's called The Morning Show.
I think it's just The Morning Show.
And that's also on Apple TV, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And Tulsa King.
And Tulsa King, which is on Paramount. I recommend all three of those shows. They're pretty good. I think you guys will enjoy them.
Could you remember in the network, the streaming service?
Well, you kind of have to. Yeah. Otherwise, you can't watch your show.
I know, but usually you really struggle with it and yell about.
So many streaming services.
He's the grumpy old man.
So many.
I remember when
I just walked over to the TV.
I just turned it on.
And I changed the channel with my hand. There was my thumb, and this finger here would pinch the knob and turn it. And you know what? My show was on. It was always on.
No adult ever changes the channel on their own. They had children for that.
Well, I was a child back then, so I was the one changing the channel.
Yeah, I was the one to change the channel.
Yeah.
So true.
My parents didn't watch a lot of TV, but I did as a kid. You know, I played a lot outside. Don't get me wrong. I mean, me and my friends were always here, there, and everywhere until, you know, the sun went down. But yeah.
Oh, see, I do not miss those days because when I was a child, you couldn't pause the TV, and my dad watched a lot of TV. So if I wanted to talk to him, like get permission to go out, I had to talk during the 2-minute commercial. So that's why I'm a fast talker.
Yeah, that's why.
That's why.
All right. Anyway, I'll see you guys at the next one. Peace out. Bye.